So, a major Wall Street bank has been fined for its connections to one Jeffrey Epstein. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this segment of Mika Says Sukas. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. So, a major Wall Street bank has been fined to the tune of $150 million for basically allowing Jeffrey Epstein to run rampant while they provided the apparatus. This is reported by many places, but this article is by CNBC. Deutsche Bank hit with a $150 million penalty for relationship to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but that would mean that Deutsche Bank officially had to face more ramifications for what Jeffrey Epstein has done than Jeffrey Epstein himself. That's not a good thing, but let's check this article out. So it says that a New York State financial regulator said Tuesday that they had slapped Deutsche Bank with a $150 million penalty for significant compliance failures in the bank's dealings with accused child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Accused child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. That's what they're still calling him, accused. I guess technically because he wasn't found guilty. I think that he was found guilty in Florida courts. So there's that. But anyway, as well as two client banks. So the New York State Department of Financial Services said that Deutsche Bank, which agreed to the payment under a consent order, failed to properly monitor account activity conducted on behalf of the registered sex offender, despite ample public information about Mr. Epstein's earlier criminal misconduct. The big settlement comes days after Epstein's alleged procurer, Ghislaine, that's a really nice way to say pedophile pimp. That's what I call her. She was Epstein's pedophile pimp partner in crime. That's what she is. You got to put that on everything now. Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested on federal charges that accuse her of helping him get access to and groom underage girls so he could sexually abuse them. I feel like it should also be noted, because for whatever reason journalists don't want to do their job, she also participated in the abuse. That's kind of key here and should be noted. The state said it was the first enforcement action by a regulator against a financial institution for dealings with Epstein, which is unacceptable, by the way. The consent order covers Deutsche Bank's relationships with Epstein and correspondent banking relationships with Danske Bank in Estonia and FBME Bank. Deutsche Bank maintained a relationship with Epstein as well as related individuals and entities from August 2013 until December 2018, when the bank ended its dealings with him after the Miami Herald published a series of stories about a federal non-prosecution deal that Epstein obtained in 2008 in Florida. Over time, the German company handled more than 40 accounts related to Epstein and related people and entities. So there you have it, people. Like I said, Deutsche Bank has officially faced more ramifications for the actions of Jeffrey Epstein than Jeffrey Epstein himself. None of your business. Thank you very much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate the support. I feel like there should be much more. I feel like there should just be much more punishment going around, right? Because let's be clear, Deutsche Bank wasn't the only one involved with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, there's already plenty of stories out there that talk about he was a multi-billionaire, and he did so through various trading apparatuses and stock exchange. Like, it wasn't only Deutsche Bank. I could tell that's not how these things usually go. And let's be also very clear about something else. I know that we don't want to get into the blame game here, but you assigning $150 million fine to a bank that makes $150 million in like 3 days and can lose it just as quickly is not really all that impactful, in my humble opinion. Although I am glad it begins to point fingers at Wall Street for engaging in human trafficking, more or less. That's what you assisted in. But I feel like there should be a name attached to this. Hear me out here. Almost every like controversial major trade has to have some signature, has to have somebody sign off on it. There's auditors and there are people who are supposed to be involved with ensuring that you are following the law. I mean, I know this is going to sound funny, but it's a true story. Jordan Belfort, for example, from the Wolf on Wall Street, was personally held accountable for much of the actions of his firm. In this particular situation, there is no one really being held accountable because it had to go through somebody. And even if it didn't, somebody was in charge, and he was a registered sex offender who I'm sure at one point had his assets seized. So there should have been some red flags going up there. But that's not what we saw. We saw a major bank, basically take a hit that's worth pennies. Not pennies. I would say a couple of dollars to them. The only positive that I see is that now, perhaps, we start to see more fingers pointing at Wall Street. But I do find it interesting because I just feel like Deustch Bank is not even close to the only quote unquote corrupt bank on Wall Street. And yet it seems like the media has been, and not only the media, but even regulators, they've been partial towards calling out Deustch Bank without calling out any other major banks and a lot of the things that we know that they're involved with. Not only when it comes to like Epstein and things like that, but just the way they screwed over citizens. It literally took them robbing citizens' accounts and getting caught. Robbing citizens' accounts to the tune of billions for them to be like, oh man, I guess the banks be doing some bad stuff. So it's easy to point fingers at banks like Deustch Bank, who, they're more of a foreign bank, if you will, like a foreign investment bank. But I guarantee you look into the Wells Fargos of the world, even better. Look into JP Morgan Chase. Look into Bank of America. Look into a lot of these different banks at the highest levels. And tell me they don't need to be called out on a regular basis. It's highly likely that we'll never know whether or not some of these other banks were involved in assisting Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. And once again, yeah, the banks were guilty of it, but there are federal agencies that are supposed to be dedicated to tracking this sort of, it was suspicious behavior to say the least. There's supposed to be people, but see, when you got presidents on the flight log or former presidents on the flight log of Jeffrey Epstein, then you start to realize it doesn't make sense. You just find scapegoats. You don't wonder how people might get excited. Oh man, somebody's being held accountable. Yeah, that's cool. But how did Deustch Bank get away with it that whole time? From 2013 until 2018. Nobody was monitoring them. Nobody was auditing them. And if there was somebody auditing them, who was it? And why did they allow it to go on for so long? Once again, the reason I feel like this question is so important to ask, because you all remember when Acosta was getting vetted for Trump's administration, because he was the one that secured that non-prosecutorial deal for Epstein here in South Florida. What did he say? I was told it was above my pay grade, that Jeffrey Epstein is intelligence. The intelligence community is known for laundering money through investments. One of their primary investors, or I should say the primary investor for the intelligence community, is called InQtel. It's actually based out of Arlington, Virginia. They're not trying to hide it very well, to be quite honest with you. But there has to be Someone, can we start getting names? I'm tired of these major entities getting slaps on the wrist, relatively. Obviously, 150 million, I could do a lot with 150 million dollars. But that bank, they'll be able to make it in payments. They're not going to pay 150 million straight up. We got to know. I want names. I'm tired of these damn, Deutsche Bank, Donska, I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what bank, Donska, Donske. Oh, this governing body, this district court. We need the media and these court systems to start arresting people. God damn it! How much more evidence do you need to go arrest Bill Clinton right now? Like I said in the past, I've had friends who've had their houses ran into because they had one too many cars go in and out of their driveway, and the police investigated them because they thought they were selling marijuana, the same marijuana that is now being sold to the tune of 10 billions by your local Karen in Colorado. Tens of billions, excuse me. They will dedicate all their resources to finding a drug dealer, a weed dealer. Hell, even a cocaine, not really. Depending on who the cocaine dealer is selling to, I guess we should say. But you got a flight log full of politicians. And you can't even investigate one name, at least openly? You can't arrest anybody? Do your damn job? Y'all out here arresting peaceful protesters, working with the military to track down peaceful protesters, but y'all can't arrest politicians who were flying. No, I don't think Epstein was a registered sex offender at that point whenever Bill Clinton was on it, but he was a registered sex offender when a lot of other politicians was flying. And that generally is more than enough. Oh, but these are politicians though. These are famous bankers though. These are investment bankers, and these are, generals. These are this. Can't touch them, because nobody's above the law, right? That's what we're told. I'm tired of seeing Dutch banks and all these people. I want to see people being arrested, not banks being fined, because somebody deserves some damn justice in here. Somebody, anybody, please restore some faith in the rule of law in this country. I would love to know what your thoughts are about this. Like this video, share this video, leave a comment below. But more than anything else, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, find your balance. Peace. If you like that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button. Want access to members only live streams, behind the scenes footage, and other premium content? Well, you can endorse us on Rockman Premium, become a patron through Patreon, or you can sign up for the MCSC Premium membership through YouTube. All the links are in the description below. But hey, more than anything else, always remember,
find your balance.
Find your balance.
Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.
peace.